Alrighty, Jonathan. I stalk you a little bit on Facebook, trying to figure out what's going on in your world. And I saw a post that was basically, how do I raise money with no investor list? I did not click in or drill down. I just saw the heading. I'm like, you know what? That's going to be one of our topics today. So, how do I raise money with no investor list, Jonathan?
Yeah. So normally I say you can't. I mean,
Video over.
video over. No, but seriously. So just the background of this, you'll often hear people say something which I believed as well, which is if you find a great deal, the money to close will find you. Right. And that is a yes, maybe kind of thing, right? Where if you have done the groundwork of building a network first,
Right.
then yes, you can find the money to do a really good deal. However, most people who take that sort of adage to heart, including myself when I was earlier on, haven't put in the time to build the investor list, and they just sort of think, well, this is just going to happen. If I go out and sort of tell people about this, it's going to all work out, right? Mm-hmm. It's not going to happen. But let's just say, though, you are in the position where you happen to come across a smoking deal, you get it under contract, but you don't have a list. What do? Well, this came up on my member call for this month, a couple of weeks ago. Okay. So one of our members, found a really good deal, and he's like, well, what do I do now? How do I raise the money for this? And he's like, I've been trying to, I've been calling all my friends and family, trying to get them interested, but that's really uncomfortable, like calling people and asking them for money. Yeah, I mean, I had the same problem. This hung me up for years. Like, I don't want to ask people for money. This is feels so icky, right? And that was the word that he used, is icky. And it does. It feels really icky. Like you don't really feel like you're giving, even though you're presenting somebody an opportunity, it could make money for them. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like you're asking them for a favor and you're putting them on the spot. And especially when it's somebody well, like a good friend or a good family member, you both know that introducing money into the relationship is really dangerous, right? So everybody feels really uncomfortable with this situation. Mm-hmm. So what do? Well, you act as if you have a list already, and you go and you put together, you set up a webinar or whatever as if you already had a list of people, the same way that you would pitch to your investor list, or the same way I would pitch a deal to my investor list. Put together a presentation about the deal, just laying it out. Like, this is what it is, this is all the great things about it. And if you want in, here's how you can get in, and you just offer it, right? And you set it up with a Q&A. Once that's set up, then what you do is you go through your contacts and you make a list of everybody that you can think of who could possibly be interested in your deal, right? Or in a deal like this, right? And what you do is you're not pitching them, right? You just reach out to all the, and this is the way that this came up actually, with somebody saying, well, I have all these contacts I haven't been in touch with for a really long time. I don't really want to call them. It sounds very transactional. Like, I don't want to be like hey, I'm calling you for the first time in 5 years to ask you for money, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fun conversation.
Oh yeah, that's like really icky, right? No matter how good the deal is, it just doesn't feel comfortable. But instead, what you do is you just compose a really short email. You say, hey, so-and-so, I know it's been a really long time since we've been in touch. Like, you acknowledge it, get it out of the way. Yep. I know that you are interested in this kind of thing. I've put this together, and this is the time, this is the place. Here's when it is. If you're interested, please join. And if you know anybody else, please invite them. And that's all you do.
That last key is important, because I don't know if you follow Alex Hormozi. Alex Hormozi just wrote a book. Actually, I have it right here behind me. $100 million Leads, I think, was the title. And he actually talks about this all the time, right? If you want to sell something or raise money, all of that is, you have a list without even having a list, right? Yep. You have a set of contacts, and I'm sure I'm cutting out lots of his wisdom in this, but basically reach out to everybody, right? All your social medias, and say, hey, do you, not only hey, sorry, we haven't talked in a while, blah, blah, blah. But do you know anybody that might like a deal like this or like this? And again, he started his journey as a fitness guy, right? So you know anybody want to lose weight or get a 6-pack or whatever. And the people in his network were like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
Right. So again, I think Alex Hormozi is a lot of this. Yeah.
Yeah. This is something that my friend Mike Roderick, who is kind of like a networking expert, used to talk about a lot, was the indirect ask, right?
Exactly.
Rather than go to somebody and say, do you want this, which puts them on the spot, you go to them and say, do you know anybody who wants this? And then of course, if they want it themselves, they'll be like, hey, can I get in on this? So, and that's basically what you do. So you go to all those people and you just say, hey, know anybody who might be interested in this? Or, if you know that it's like, this student of mine was talking about the fact that he knew these guys were interested in real estate because they talked about it back in the day, right? So for those people, he knew that this is something that interested them, but he just hadn't been in contact with them for ages, right? But you can do this with your whole list. Like, and the great thing about what you just said about Alex Hormozi is also like, so you can even use this with people who are not qualified because maybe they know people who are,
exactly.
Right? So you can expand your list that way. And then here's, I don't know if Alex Hormozi talks about this or not. So now you've reached out to like, and look, you probably know 500 or 1,000 people, right? And with social media and whatever, and you just invite people, right? No pressure. And it's also important to say, if you can't come, no big deal, right? Give them give them the out that says like, that gives them the psychological space to say like, oh, they can reject it without rejecting you, right? It makes it easier for them to say yes, actually. So then what you do is you make sure that you invite them like on Zoom and you set it up so they have to register, right? And then now there's your list. Now you've built yourself an investor list, right? In a couple of days, right? So, and the other thing too is that like repetition is really important for these things. So it is a good thing to like send out more than one email to people, right? You can send out a couple of emails just reminding them like, hey, it's tomorrow. Hey, it's today, right? Because people, even if you send it 2 weeks before, they may be like, oh yeah, I want to do this. And then they'll forget about it. So you want to make sure it's okay to remind them. But this is the way that you can get a list of people very fast who are potentially interested or know people who are interested and go from like 0 to a list very quickly. And if you are paying attention to like the last video or one of the earlier videos and sort of starting small where you can start, the amount of money that you need to raise is probably pretty small, and you'll be surprised that you may be able to hit it just one webinar. So
the last thing I would tell someone like this is, I've raised millions of dollars and I never asked for a penny. How did I do that? I documented my journey, right? So if I was this individual, I know it's kind of late in the day because I already have a deal. But one of the things that I think is really valuable is just to document your learning. I've done this twice now. Back when, 2006, 7, 8, I was writing on Bigger Pockets. I had a website called wealthbuildingpro.com. I was simply documenting the junk I was buying, right? I would give them funny names and I would just go through the details, right? And I was doing Burr before it was a thing, right? I'd buy them cash, I'd fix them up, and I'd refi out, and I'd do it again, and just kept recycling capital. I think I had 7 or 8 stories out there, and people started saying, hey, I'll give you some money, right? So we started having conversations like that. And then obviously fast forward to 2018, I quit in a moment's notice, and I start doing what I call pride of ownership flips. I start buying junk slumlord properties. I spend lots of money, and then I put a tenant in and I sell it. I call them pride of ownerships. Now they're called turnkeys. But I did almost 60 of those from 18, 19, and 20. By the time I did the 4th or 5th one, again, people in my universe were saying, hey, I'll give you some money. I want to be your equity partner. So back at the first time, I paid 12% interest only. This time I paid 6%, but I gave them 20% of the upside, right? So again, it's just about doing what's right for you. So again, document your journey. It is such an awesome thing. And again, you're learning. So document what you're learning.
You can literally, this won't be as fast as the method I laid out, obviously, right? But this is a way to build, you can literally start from 0. The first entry of your blog or whatever it is can be, I don't know anything about real estate, right? And then the second one can be, hey, I read this book. It was a great book. You should read it too. Right. And then like, if you documented every step, before you know it, you'd have, first of all, you have a big blog with lots of SEO juice and people finding you. But then, you know, you're going to, like you said, get people who are going to reach out to you. I've seen this happen many, many times where like Matt Faircloth, I don't know if you know Matt.
I know
Matt
the name,
is really great syndicator. Matt built his business on YouTube, literally doing what you did, just documenting his deals. This is what I'm, hey guys, look, I'm at my property. This is what I'm looking at today. And I know people who are not on social media, not out there, who've done the same thing. Just, you know, starting, a guy I knew who started to do, he just started like rehabbing crappy deals in Baltimore. He was a lawyer and he just was talking about it with his colleagues, and his colleagues after the second or third one were like, hey, can I get in on that? You know?
I got some coin. I got some stuck away that's just sitting there. Yeah, it's amazing what happens. So, folks, it's out there. Be vulnerable. Document your journey. Nobody expects you to be, you know, Jonathan, you know, day one. You got to earn it. And if you document it, it's pretty cool. But Jonathan, where can people find you?
Yeah, so come enter my world, come into my lair.
Lair.
You'll never get out. You'll never get out again. At apartmentinvestorsclub.com. You can download my free download and get on my list, or come join me on the Facebook group at Apartment Investors Club. And also, if you are interested in investing with me, Google Two Bridges Asset Management. We have a little bit of room left in my hotel deal. So I'd love to have you, you know, come along for that journey if you're interested.
Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Have a wonderful week.
You too.